Hello, this is Matt with the Moon Lambo channel. Today I got a few stories with you regarding Ripple. I've got a story from a pretty popular, well-known crypto news publication that's saying XRP price might blow up in 2019, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. And then there's been a few other overall developments in the crypto world today that I'll touch on towards the end of this also. Before I move forward, I want to say if you would, please hit that like button, hit the thumbs up. If you would consider subscribing, if you're not, just know that I would genuinely appreciate it. My channel's so tiny, and to every single one of you that have done that and that have subscribed, just know from the bottom of my heart, I really mean it. Thank you so much, because it is really difficult to get traction on a brand new YouTube channel, especially when there's so much great content already out there. So it means a lot to me that you're taking time out of your day to actually listen to my take on some of this stuff. So onwards. This is the XRP Daily. This is Alex Cobb's website that I cited yesterday. I'm going to try and check this more regularly. He just launched this pretty recently. And there are a couple things that he had on the front page that I wanted to touch on here, make you aware of. The headline here that he wrote is XRP Ledger sees 0.2 second transactions and 104 transactions per second. And that's just cool to see. 0.2 second transactions and 104 transactions per second. And you know what's amazing is, you think about it, so when we had the height of the bull market in December of 2017, before Bitcoin hit it, when it was about to hit its all-time high of almost 20,000, it was struggling for 5 to 7 transactions per second. 5 to 7 transactions per second, and that's it. Without Lightning Network ever working, that's it, because that's what the technology built in allows. And here we're seeing 104 transactions per second. And we know that the on-chain transactions, they can reach right at 1,500. That's what the word that we've gotten from, I believe I've even read that specifically from David Schwartz, CTO at Ripple, who was one of the original creators of the XRP ledger. And it's infinitely scalable, almost. I learned, and I had some tweets back and forth, because as you guys may know, I've said it in the past, I'm a big picture guy, not a technical guy. I'm not an IT guy, but I want to understand conceptually how this stuff works so that I can articulate it in a way that makes sense. And so I was tweeting back and forth with a great member of the XRP community who I've mentioned in the past. His name's Matt. Also, my name's Matt. His name's Matt. And he's at Hammertoe on Twitter, and he's got quite the technical background. And so I was asking him exactly why is the XRP ledger nearly infinitely scalable, and then I was trying to find a way that I could understand it and then explain it to people in lay terms. And so I spit it back to him what I thought I heard from him, and he said, yes, that's accurate, more or less. So I was like, okay, I think I get this then. And in a nutshell, for a non-technical guy, and hopefully this explanation works for you, is... So we already know the limitation of 1,500 transactions per second, but essentially what allows XRP to be near infinitely scalable is payment channels, which are built into the ledger. So you don't need Lightning Network to hit this. And so essentially, in a nutshell, from what I gathered from them, is what you can do is you can send payments through via these payment channels in batches. So you can let these transactions build up. 1 transaction, 2 transactions, then you get up to 10 transactions, 100, 1,000. And they come through pretty darn quick already as is, but you can bundle them up and then send these batches through to be settled as one of the 1,500 transactions that can actually go through per second. So you're actually settling a whole bunch more for each of those 1,500 slots that are open per second. That's the way that it was described to me, and I spit it back to him and said, am I hearing this right? And he said yes, so I think I'm doing that justice. If I'm not, then I'll clarify in a future video, but I believe that's accurate. So anyway, that's pretty cool. Just know that the coin that we're behind, if you're listening to this, you're probably a big XRP guy like me, doesn't need Lightning Network. How cool is that? I love it. All right, and Alex also had another piece here. This was interesting, actually. I hadn't seen this anywhere else. So the headline here is, Ripple partner to shut down 140 branches due to growth of online banking. Dun, dun, dun! Like, oh my God, is the sky falling? No. Well, no, I mean, look, I can feel for all the people that have their jobs at risk as a result of this, and that's not something to make light of. But this is this is just technological evolution. Just like we don't use the horse and buggy anymore, we got horseless carriages, right? Cars, So we're just seeing that evolution here. And the way technology is going, you're just not going to need these branches. So it makes sense that you're going to keep seeing this. When was the last time you walked into a bank? I mean, unless you actually have to deposit a paper check, which hopefully you really don't have to do a whole lot of that. What's the reason to go there? The occasional loan if you're an individual or business, maybe, but how many branches do you need for that? Things are changing. The way that people are moving money, it's completely changing. Now, the good news is, despite the fact that these branches are shutting down, and yes, Santander is a huge partner of Ripple's, this has nothing to do with the quantity of transactions that's flowing, cross borders monetarily on a daily basis. In fact, what we're going to see, especially as there's more humans on the planet over time, is the quantity of transactions is going to increase. And not just that, beyond that, another reason that the transactions will increase is that as the cost comes down, it becomes affordable to send more transactions more frequently across borders. And what is going to facilitate those transfers? Ripple technology, Xcurrent, XRapid, and the bridge currency XRP. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's going to result in a whole lot more demand, of course. Of course, because like I say, and I've said in so many videos, as it becomes adopted, the Ripple technology, you're going to see more XRapid powered exchanges, which means more market makers, which means less supply available of XRP, which raises the price. But you're going to need to see this type of adoption on a much larger level, and in the short term, it could go way down for all I know. This is not financial advice. I'm just saying big picture, the route that we're going here. And so that's what I think we can expect to see happen here. And this piece is kind of cool here. You guys may be aware already of Ripple's Spring initiative, which is not what this is. I read through this, and it seems to have nothing with this. The Spring initiative, it's a program that Ripple put together to fund blockchain startups that are going to use XRP in some sort of unique way. It's to foster a healthy environment within the XRP ecosystem. That's what Spring does, and Ripple literally will give businesses that are supporting the XRP ecosystem, they'll give these new startups money. And they're not just doing it all willy-nilly, they're vetting them, making sure that it actually makes sense. But there are some out there, the most popular one obviously would be Coil, which I've talked about in the past. Now, in addition to that, though, This is just neat because they're trying to foster not just an environment in terms of XRP, but blockchain in general, because they know that as this blows up, there's going to be a shortage of talent out there, frankly. And they've discussed that in the past, and that's how I know that. That's how I know where they're going with this. I follow Ripple enough in the news over the last year to know that's what they're doing. And so I'll just read a couple little snippets here. The piece, titled Ripple Partners with Chinese University for Blockchain Research Program. The Institute for FinTech Research at Tsinghua University, I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced, but that's what I'm going with because it's the best I can do on it right now, in Beijing announced last week that the scholarship program would focus on global regulatory policies and blockchain development. Selected students will also get to participate in corporate visits and events. And then there's a quote here from Ripple's SVP of Operations, Eric Van Miltenberg. Man, he's in the news again. He was in the news yesterday, and before that, I hadn't seen anything from him in like 4, 5, 6 months. How about that? Anyway, so here's a quote from him. The program's goal to provide students with opportunities in blockchain research closely aligns with that of Ripple's University Blockchain Research Initiative. We're thrilled to support Chinese university name that I can't pronounce, in this endeavor, and look forward to its launch. And so I just thought that was kind of cool. Not only are they fostering a healthy XRP ecosystem, but a healthy blockchain ecosystem. And hats off to Ripple for that. I think that's so cool. All right, moving on here. This is kind of fun one to see just because it's something positive in the news. This is from globalcoinreport.com, and the title is XRP, Ethereum, and Tron. 3 coins that might blow up in 2019. And I'll read just a part of it just because, hey, I like some positive news, and they're getting most of this right about Ripple. And so I'll read a couple things and then tell you what I think about this in general. They write, Ripple Labs' 2 major products, Xcurrent and XRapid, managed to capture the attention of over 100 banks around the world, all of which wish to implement these products to better their payment systems. The products allow any transaction to be completed almost instantly and at a significant discount. This is one of the largest crypto use cases today, and thanks to this, XRP managed to become the second largest coin in the crypto market, with a market cap of $13.19 billion. Due to its connection to Ripple Labs and numerous banks, many have accused XRP of being centralized, not being a real cryptocurrency, and even being security. However, over time, XRP managed to prove itself again and again, and most of these accusations are now in the past, with the coin being well on its way to becoming the first crypto to enter the mainstream. Well, I certainly agree with that last sentence wholeheartedly. As for the timeline, I think that they're really just trying to capture attention here, to be perfectly honest with you, because right now, despite all of the real-world technology, the infrastructure being laid right now, the fact of the matter is, every single coin, XRP included, is coupled to Bitcoin in terms of price movement. You can have little, drops and bull runs with individual coins. Fine, we've seen that happen, but on the whole, it is still the price action. It's still tethered to Bitcoin. So, will these coins blow up in 2019? If Bitcoin does, that's the bigger point here that should be made. I'm not sure if they do or don't know that, but it seems kind of obvious to me. So I'm not one to make price predictions. I'm not going to. I think the overall trend, if you were to look long-term, not financial advice, just my personal opinion, not being professional in any way, I think, because I've done my own research, that the value of XRP will dramatically increase. My personal opinion. Will it be in 2019? I don't know, but I don't care. Not really. I like watching the developments, and when it happens, it happens. And the way I look at it is, in the meantime, the longer it takes for the next bull run of XRP, the more time I personally have to accumulate. And I do accumulate regularly, and I only put in what I'm willing to lose because I'm a responsible investor, and I understand that this could all go to zero. I really, really, really don't think so. I'm about 100% sure that that's not what's going to be happening. I think it's going to be here for the long haul. But I try to allow for I just don't think there's a bat's chance in hell, that this is actually going to happen. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So you just understand the real world infrastructure being laid right now is what actually matters. That's it. So keep watching for adoption of XRapid on exchanges, because as it happens, that will mean that there's going to be more market makers. And when there's more market makers, what does that do to supply and demand? It's gonna squeeze things. And my gosh. I think, so max supply of XRP close to 100 billion. I still maintain, I insist that everybody's well aware of that. So the concept that there's that quantity, which is a high quantity, it's already baked into the price. And even the stuff that the XRP that Ripple has in escrow, I still think people get it. It's in escrow, and that is baked into the market rate. The price you see on exchanges where you and me can buy and sell it, I think it's already baked into that. So I'm telling you, in my opinion, as more market makers try to make money on the changes, while the exchanges, the buys and sells via XRapid on these exchanges, as the technology becomes adopted, you're going to see more and more competition. And I'm telling you, in my opinion anyway, more and more XRP is going to be needed. And hey, guys, it's not rocket science here. If that happens, it's simple supply and demand. Okay, I'll move on from that though. All right, next topic. This is supposed to be allegedly big news. U.S. government shutdown derailed Bitcoin ETF talks, says Van Eck CEO. And this just happened apparently within the last few hours. This news came out. And so I pulled this up, and the market doesn't care. The prices are there. They haven't really budged, which is fine. Apparently, a big part of the reason this ETF has gone kaput, at least for now, has to do with the temporary shutdown of the U.S. government, which is actually kind of a misnomer in my mind, because the government isn't entirely shut down. There's certain aspects of it that are, like, I guess you can't go up into the Washington Monument and stuff like that. National parks, I suppose, are probably shut down. But as a whole, the government's still running, just so you guys know. That's what's actually happening. That being said, it could have affected what's going on with the SEC. I don't remember the specifics to that level. It's been years since I researched anything regarding the effects of the government shutdown, which I actually did, though. Okay, so here's the pertinent piece I wanted to read here. Oh yeah, here it is. This is a quote. This is from Vanek. Yeah, this is from Vanek. So I guess this is I think it was the CEO. Anyway, here's the quote. So, the SEC is affected by the shutdown, the government shutdown. We were engaged in discussions with the SEC about the Bitcoin-related issues, custody, market manipulation, prices, and that had to stop. And so, instead of trying to slip through or something, we just had the application pulled, and we will refile and re-engage in the discussions when the SEC gets going again. So, it's like they tapped the pause button, essentially. They're still going for this, and I can't imagine at some point in the future, whether it's the near future or the distant future, at some point, I can't imagine if an ETF didn't actually get approved by the SEC. I think it's inevitable. And people keep think that that'll be the catalyst for the next bull run, and I say, maybe. Maybe it could be. Depends on when it happens. If it were to happen now, maybe it could be a catalyst, but I don't know for sure that we're done with the bear market. I mean, the sentiment, typically with market cycles, when there's such a strong negative sentiment like you're having right now, you know what? The only thing that's going to fix that, short of like a major true catalyst, a positive catalyst, it's time. That's it. And then humans, after some time passes, humans do what they do, and there are going to be more emotional buys and sells, and then other people can get back in, and then people will pile on top of people. The pile gets bigger and bigger, and then money floods in again. So it's really a function of time. So that's not to say that if we did get a sudden approval of an ETF that couldn't be the catalyst. I'm just saying, even if it were today, I don't know for sure. We just saw that this one, it's not the only ETF out there, of course, but we just saw that this one got pulled, and the markets didn't do anything. So, hey, and this is before there was an explanation of it. The first word of this came out, I don't know for sure if CoinDesk was the first one to really start to get the word out there in any major way, but people didn't respond. So, I guess people have kind of come to expect that type of news, but this is different than just an ETF being denied. It's those that were seeking to have it approved pulled it out, and that's why I thought it could have potentially caused panic, but even that didn't, even before the explanation. Okay, so I thought that was kind of fascinating because that's different than what we've seen in the past. That's a noteworthy distinction. All right, next piece here from Cointelegraph. Crypto could take 10 plus years to regain 2017 high, but then will be mature. Cardano Founder. So I read through most of this and I got the gist of it. I'm going to link everything like I always do, of course. And what's written about in here, it is Cardano, the founder of Cardano, that has this opinion. He's also the co-founder of Ethereum. And he wrote, this is a quote written in this article. He says, it might take 11 years for us, the crypto industry, to recover, in fact, where we were in 2017. But we will be a dramatically different ecosystem at that point. We'll have millions, perhaps even billions of users. Will be in many consumer products, the easy-to-use landmark. Then he goes on and says, institutional investors are pretty picky. They're very intelligent investors, but then they also require an ecosystem of sophisticated trading strategies and tools. They need derivatives. They need options. They need to get a short sell. And if our markets can get these things, what will happen is that you'll no longer see this massive volatility. Okay, well, I can agree on the volatility point. We'll get to a certain point where it's probably not going to be so volatile, price action anyway, outside of bubbles, which are normal. They're going to occur in pretty much any asset class, given enough time. They can take a long time to build up, but they happen in legitimate asset classes. They just do, so we're always going to see that. But, you know what I have to think about this when he's talking about it being over a decade, or about a decade, for us to hit all-time highs for Bitcoin or the asset class as a whole. How should I put this? I'd say this analogy. Or comparison. I'd say it like, I wouldn't want to trust my auto mechanic to perform surgery on me, okay? Like, I'm not going to take this guy. He's probably a brilliant guy. And, I'm not going to take his financial prediction here. And this pretty well is a prediction. He's talking about all-time highs getting hit in 10 years. That's pretty well a prediction. I'm not going to take that prediction with more than a grain of salt, as they say. I think there's too much going on right here, and this just sounds like a FUD piece to me. There's real world development. We see the infrastructure being laid. In particular, if you would consider even like the other cryptocurrencies aside, just look at XRP. Look what's actually being happened. You've got the tracks being laid, all of these corridors being opened up for business. Some are live right now. There's the U.S.-Mexico corridor is live, U.S.-Philippines corridor. It's live. And now you've got financial institutions jumping on top of that because it's now live with the implementation of XRP on exchanges. There's market makers in place. There's actual liquidity there. And now you've got financial institutions, remittance companies jumping on board. And do you think it's going to take 10 years for that to be used en masse? Well, I sure don't. I don't know what the timeline's going to be, but I just think you're going to hit a point where it's so evident this is the direction that are going that you're going to have the early adopters first, of course, and then you're going to have the people who are like, oh yeah, this works, and then you're going to have, as with any technology, you're going to have the laggards. So they're like, oh crap, we got to act or we're going to lose our business. That's what the type of stuff that's going to happen. But when you're talking about conducting financial transactions cross-border in the traditional manner, versus competing companies out there that have adopted the new technology and are saving their customers upwards of 70%, depending on the number of bilateral intermediaries. It could be upwards of 70% savings. When you're talking about that, do you not think at some point just about the entirety of the financial sector, the entire financial industry, as it pertains at least to cross-border payments, do you not think that they're going to adopt it at a near 100% rate? Well, I do, and right now the only contender is Ripple and how they're positioning XRP. That's it. Nobody else is even laying competing tracks. You got to lay the tracks first and then have the coin that can use it. And XRapid only works with XRP. XRapid only works with XRP, and there are no other contenders. Doesn't mean there can't be in the future, but right now there aren't. And so even just that, as more people jump in and they see real-world use, do you think it's going to take a decade for another bull run to happen, even just with what XRP is doing? Okay, and mind you, it's not being positioned. It can be used as a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency. It's not being positioned as that. Other coins are. And what if those other coins get traction, like ones that are fast, not slow like Bitcoin? But what if one that's not using proof of work, that's speedy and cost efficient? What if that actually starts to get traction in a third world country that has rampant inflation? I mean, that could happen within the next decade. So I think that all of this prediction that he made in particular, all the FUD comments out there. Look, I'm not seeing anything big price-wise is going to happen in 2018, but it could. It could. I don't know what the time is. I'm just confident that it's going to be sooner than later. It's not going to a decade? So that's my 2 cents on that. If I talk any further at that point, I think I'm just beating a dead horse. So I suppose I'll wrap up the video on that note. And I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Thanks for watching.